Good morning, it's a beautiful crisp November morning. We're just at the end of autumn going into winter 2021 and I'm at the Great Northern Basin, and it was once a real hub, a hive of activity back in the day when the canals, were in the peak. So 1794 we've got the Crompton Canal. That was built and constructed towards Cromford in that direction. Over here we've got Langley Mill lock. That was restored in 1973, and that'll take the Aerowash Canal off towards the River Trent. Also, we've got the Nottingham Canal. The former Nottingham Canal closed a long time ago, probably coming up to around about, I think it was 1928, when traffic was last seen on the northern section of the Nottingham Canal. And that is over in that direction. Now there is a variation of sections along the Nottingham Canal which are in water, sadly infilled, parts of nature reserve, and a little bit of it does still see traffic today, but only a little bit. So I'm going to show you this sign. Look, we've got Nottingham 14 miles. Now the length of the canal is actually 14.7 miles, which I believe is around about 23.7 kilometres. Trent Lock along the Aerowash again over there, and Cromford is 15 miles away. Now just before we start our journey, we've got the Nottingham Canal toll office. Look, the original toll office back from when fees would have been applied for passage of crafts onto the Nottingham Canal, most likely coming away from the Aerowash over there and the Cromford over there. So without further ado, let's go and trace our route of the Nottingham Canal, where today we're going to head off towards Alresworth and Cossall. So upon leaving the Great Northern Basin, it would have come across in like a V shape away from the Aerowash over there. Look, there's Langley Mill lock, and it is some private moorings now. Look, private moorings at the Great Northern Basin. Right there below that glaring sunlight and beyond that beautiful narrowboat is the bridge where the route would have once carried on. Sadly, our first section is infilled, so let's get across the road onto the other side and we'll see where we can pick it up again. So the canal itself was opened in 1796. Cool, there's some really beautiful sunshine coming through. It's really glaring, and it did keep going until 1937 on the southern reaches, more near Nottingham city centre. So as I said previously, 1928 I believe traffic stopped running along the northernmost section between Lenton, I think, and the Great Northern Basin where we just started. Now the route is taking a bit of a twist and a turn just here. The Aerowash Canal is gradually getting further away over there, so the route of the canal would go along that path, and we're going to follow that in just one moment. I'm just going to show you the close proximity of where the actual Aerowash Canal is. Let's take you down here a little bit, and here's the Anchor Lane Bridge over the Aerowash. It's looking absolutely beautiful down there today. Look at that. I do love these crisp autumn mornings. There's no frost today, but it's extremely sunny, and as you can see, the trees are changing colours, and there's the view south towards Ilkeston and Trent Lock. So completely heading away from Anchor Lane now, and we're pretty much on the course of the canal, but no sign or evidence of a canal as such. There's my view looking forwards. Look, canal bed would have been just over there. If memory serves correct, we should be on something that looks a lot more like a canal very shortly. Yeah, there she is. Our first little moment, an encounter of the Nottingham Canal since leaving the Great Northern Basin. Read it up, a nice haven for wildlife. Now this isn't going to be the original towpath that I'm on, it's a little bit too far away. The Aerowash Canal is probably about 100 metres to my right. There's another little glance at it, look. Laid abandoned and derelict for well over 80 years now. The drone footage you just seen should have given a bit of an indication of the course of the two canals running alongside the A610 over there, and they do run together for about half a mile before the Nottingham Canal eventually pulls away east away from the Aerowash Canal before heading on towards its destination of what is now the Nottingham Beeston Canal. So much sunshine today, it's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? See, that bit's looking a bit deep, isn't it? I don't know if I can get in. You can see remains of the old sidewall there, look like coping stones. I'm going to see if I can get into the bottom. Ooh, some cobwebs down here, and there we are. We're in the base of the old Nottingham Canal, look. A little bit of water over there, made a little bit of a pond. How long these trees must have been here. And this collapsed stonework, look, it's just gradually deteriorated and fell. There's a big one there, look. Right, let's get ourselves back up to the former towpath. So that's looking back to where we started. That's looking towards where we're going. Let's push on. Now approaching Tinsley Road. And look, we've got ourselves a bit of a find. Stood right in the canal bed, look. And here's an old bridge completely infilled. Look at that, isn't that amazing? It's not so infilled under there, look. So the towpath is obviously buried under there somewhere. I'm going to say it's on the right somewhere, because I believe that's where the towpath ran along this section of the canal as we were previously walking. Look at that. That's a great little bit of history, isn't it? That old little bridge. We're going to see if I can get ourselves on top of it. Here we go, look at this. Both side walls still present. All coping stones seem to be present and correct. Let's have a look down to where we just were, look. There we go, look. That's where we just found the lower section of that bridge. Let's have a look at the other side. Not so sure if I can get down that way, but I'm really pleased that that's still there, because they could have quite easily just demolished that and made it a flat infill, but it's been left so we can get ourselves there. Just look, there's the other side. That's good. Yeah, back on the official towpath again then. We'll plod on a little bit further before we get to where the Giltbrook Retail Park is and the Nottingham IKEA. And there used to also be a little arm coming off there, a little canal arm for what I believe was an old open cast mine. We've got ourselves a nice little swing bridge here, look. There's the stonework, look, to confirm it was always some kind of swing bridge. You can see the curve and the coping stones at the top of the canal wall. And there's the original brickwork and stonework on either side as well, look. And the age of the wood, the pillars, would probably suggest that is the original wood and the original bar and chain. The foundation wood has obviously been replaced in recent years. It's quite a steep, tight curve on this side, isn't there? Some blue brick apparent down there. Unsure whether this would actually be in any kind of working order. I can't see it being. What a shame so far that this little section isn't actually still in water. I believe there were attempts to actually repair and refill this back in the 70s and 80s, at this section at least, maybe as far as Cossall or Trowell. And apart from that infill section where we just began our journey, this all looks rather, you know, manageable. I mean, it'll never get restored now, but I believe the countryside is just going to get more and more beautiful the further we get along the Nottingham Canal. So we just crossed over New Manley's Lane. A610 is just to our left. You may be able to make out street lighting just there and a bit of noisy traffic. Our canal is sadly gone, it's infilled. So we're on a really, really nice path. Next up, I believe, is Hall Lane. Whether there's a bridge or remains there, I'm unsure. And although filled in, I've come about a quarter of a mile down from where I spoke to you. You can still clearly see the route of the canal up, lined with trees. And then as we turn about, you can see that curve going around. There's a little ditch in there which would be there to carry any surface water. So this here is Hall Lane. Absolutely no evidence of the canal whatsoever. The bridge would have been somewhere around here, and the canal going off in that direction. And over the valley there, you might just be able to make out over there a little white bridge. That's the Aerowash Canal. And we've also got the Aerowash Valley Railway line over on the horizon there, so we're getting a little bit closer to that. And that heads off towards Ilkeston in that direction, with Langley Mill right on the horizon over there. So it looks like we're going to lose our canal for a little bit, maybe for about a quarter of a mile. I'm going to follow this footpath before we meet up with it again. So at this point we're even further away from the Nottingham Canal. We're taking around about a 90 degrees angle away from it. We're actually getting closer to the Aerowash again and the Aerowash Valley Railway line. We've yet to meet up with the River Aerowash as well. A lot of the area which can be a floodplain. So we've got Crompton over there, and we've got Ilkeston over there. Outside, behind those hedges, is the Iron Giant. A lot of you know what the Iron Giant is. Nothing to do with a giant robot from space walking through a sleepy town. Let's go and find that as well. Next up, before we get to the Iron Giant as we know it, I spy a little bit of discarded railway ballast, and I'm going to take it up here and we're going to see what was once the site of the Bennerley open cast. Now this was a former railway track bed, and it used to form part of the line towards Bulwell, and it had gone through places such as Kimberley, and over on this site was the former Bennerley open cast. So this huge expanse of wasteland, it was once Bennerley Ironworks, and this was also the site of the Bennerley to Bulwell railway line. That did not have a very long life, shutting around about the end of World War I. Now after the Bennerley Ironworks closed, it was then acquired by the National Coal Board, and it was turned into a coal disposal point which kept on in use until the late 1990s. And there's a stack of railway sleepers, look, from when it was used for the coal disposal point for trains coming in and trains coming out. So that's it, that's Bennerley Viaduct. Back on the Nottingham Canal now, you've probably just seen. Back on the route of which this video and walk is all about. One last little look at Bennerley. That's lovely, isn't it? So next up, we're going to follow this beautifully watered section of the canal. Isn't that lovely? Just how it probably was back in the day. The sun is still shining. I think we've got this all day. I keep getting little thin cobwebs in my face as well. I'm going to turn you around because my face looks really white with the sun's glare. Plenty of ducks and moorhens along here. It is absolutely stunning. The A6096 is up next. We're going to cross that and then carry on towards the village of Orsworth. I've just been having a lovely chat with two chaps called Dave and John. You know, really pleasant. It's really nice to get talking to people. So if you're watching this, Dave and John, absolute pleasure to meet you. This is a beautiful little bit, isn't it? We're going to cross the A6098 in a moment. But before we get to that busy noise, it's just lovely to see the wildlife present. It's also a time of year when there's some beautiful colours, isn't there? I think in a couple of weeks all these would have turned golden and they'd have all fallen too, won't they? And we'll have bare trees ready for the winter to come. So I've crossed the A6096 and we're into a beautiful quiet little section. The lovely little footbridge there, look. And it is really only about a quarter of a mile long before we end up crossing Coronation Road. Look at that. That's beautiful, isn't it? Nice little wide open area. It's almost like it was a winding hole back in the day. So yeah, we get to Coronation Road, but you have to go down, cross the road, and then up alongside, as it's a piped culvert section. There are 3 or 4 large iron pipes. The bridge is no longer present. I'll see you down there. Now, I'm unsure what this bridge would have been for, but it is pretty old, isn't it? Maybe from the 60s, some sort of access. Now, there's the route of the old canal, but that is not the original canal bridge, as you can tell. Now, there is pipe culvert sections running through there. You can see the gates at the top stopping you from getting through and across, and the same at the other end. And I've scurried up the other embankment. Look, you can see the former canal bed just there, look. So it's come out of the piping just around there, out of sight, and it goes through a continuation of what looks like a steel pipe section. Let's see if we can find the other end. And here we are back on the towpath again. We've still got the pipe and the clear sight of the canal bed down there, look. I think it won't go for much longer before this canal is back in water. Just out of sight over there on my right, there used to be an artificial ski slope. It had a very short life, and basically it was covered in artificial balls. It was an unusual kind of ski slope. It opened around about 1995, but it only lasted as long as 1999 before it went up for redevelopment in 2000. Nothing's been done to it since. It's just a barren wasteland. I believe though it does have a brighter future, some kind of redevelopment on the former site. And as you can probably hear in the background, there's quite a bit of work going on with that redevelopment taking shape. Next up is Castle, and a really unusual section of the canal. It's pretty much like a hairpin sort of shape because it goes with the contours of the land. We've got the Robinettes Arm, which went off to a open cast mine. The Aerowash Valley railway line and canal and river are all about 300 yards to my right. That's a pretty good guess. Castle village is situated on the horizon over there. Okay, as I'm stood here with the canal right in front of me and Castle over there, the canal is going to take quite a bit of a hairpin turn. I'm going to show you why. So there's the route going forward, but if I go all the way over here, that is also the route going forward. It's going to take a real tight hairpin turn, so we're going to go up there, tightly back on ourselves. Over at the hairpin, tightest part, there's a little junction, and it's the Robinettes Arm junction, and it went off to serve an open cast mine. So we're going to see if we can get across the other side of the canal and have a look at the Robinettes Arm. Of note, if you ever are actually walking along this canal and you don't fancy doing this great big out of the way bend, there is a stile on each side of the field between us which will cut you straight across, but be warned, it does get very, very muddy, very slodgy indeed. Now I think I can see a little footbridge coming up around this bend, and it's going to get us on over to the other side so we can have a look at the Robinettes Junction for the arm of that canal. So we're now at the tip of our little hairpin bend of the Nottingham Canal, where it's taken the contour of the land around and off towards Nottingham over there. So that is Orsworth and Cossall in that direction. The old ski slope was just over there, about half a mile away. Around here we've got what was the Robinettes Arm, and it's still in water, look. Now I have never in my life ventured as far as I can down here. So I've spent about 18 years living in Trowell, a couple of miles away. We always used to go around the bend off towards Orsworth. We never used to walk along here. And as you can see, it is still in water, but we are going to hit a road just up here. And this is where the Robinettes Arm meets Cossall Lane. You get to the tightest part of the bend and it turns into dead lane. As you can see, it's concrete, culverted. I'm going to carefully have a look, see if I can see anything on the other side. This is all new territory for me. There we go, look. So the Nottingham Canal, Robinettes Arm in Cossall. And on the other side we've still got some water, look, but the towpath has completely disappeared. So we're going to have a little venture up and see if anything of interest remains up here. It's an old overflow just here, look. Look at that. So there's the canal there, look. Clearly wildlife have trodden that down a little bit. There's a nice little bench. I don't really think we're going to get much further. It looks like people only come down as far as the bench. It is lightly trodden down. Whether it's worth disturbing anything down here, I'm going to do a little bit and see how far I can get before it gets a bit silly. So it's curving off to the right a little, look. It's still in water just there. It's opened up a little bit. So I believe all the way down there it is actually a proper footpath, it's just very rarely used. Some spiky bits down here I'm trying to avoid. It's going on longer than I thought it would be. Yeah, I think I'm going to call it there. It's getting a bit too overgrown, look. It won't go much further than that anyway. So I'm going to pop myself back to the Robinettes Arm junction. I'll put the drone up a little bit so you can see the entire thing, what it looks like, and probably see how far it goes that way as well. I'll see you back down on the Nottingham Canal. On the Nottingham Canal again, and we're taking the direct route towards the village of Trowell now, and that's a little bit special for me. As I said before, spent around about 18 years there growing up. Primary school, had my first pint there back in 1999, probably, might have been 97, forgetting how old I was then or when I was born. So that's this way, that's about a mile and a half down here. It's all open, look, full of water, open countryside. So let's take it in while we can, because for the last mile or so it is sadly infilled. And when I mentioned you could cut the hairpin through often muddy field. Here's the other end of it. You'd come out on this stile. The muddy field is just down there behind those bushes. Because there's an entire squadron of swans there. Look, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, a dozen swans over there. Look, some of them are young as well. They've got the grey feathers, and there's a couple which are all white. So they're probably the parents. That's quite a large family, isn't it, for them to look after, if that is all from the same family. So at this point we say goodbye to Nottingham Canal in its watered form, and the rest of it is now infilled up until we get to the village of Trowell. So there's the view going forward. Look, it was infilled in the late 1980s, and I have vivid memories of it all being open and then filled with remains of broken up and discarded tarmac from a resurfacing programme on a main road. I believe it was between Ilkeston and Trowell. They just chucked it in here, and then it all got topsoiled and then turned into this nature trail kind of walk. I can't see things like that happening today, so I believe that's quite short-sighted. They could have left it open and found somewhere else to put the tarmac. Where did they put it in today? I don't know. But the place to put tarmac into a canal should never have happened. We do have another little interesting feature coming up, and I believe it could well have been either a stop block or a bridge. And it does have its stonework on both sides, and there's a little bit of water in the centre of it also. But it's quite nice how this bit was left as well, when the place was actually filled in either side. Now I'm going to suggest it may have been a swing bridge of some sort. If I go the other side, I'll show you why I believe that to be. So we'll go to the site of where the original towpath was and get ourselves over to the coping stones. And you can see it's got like a curvature around the edge, look, and then another platform just there which could have rested some sort of swing bridge. There's also evidence of stop planks being used just there, look. You just see a gap right in the centre now for the other side. So maybe it was a swing bridge, later used for stoppages. I'm unsure exactly what its purpose was. So I should take you towpath side now, get off the side of the path which was originally part of the actual canal bed, and I'll take you down here and see you a bit further down. This last mile between Cossall and Trowell, there really isn't a great deal to see. We've just gone past Bluebell Woods back there. It's been pretty much the same as this for the last 20 minutes or so, not really much to see. We're at the beginning of Trowell village down there. There are houses beyond there which take us all the way towards the Festival Inn pub and also St Mary's Church. That's a beautiful little church. I'm going to try and get a drone photo of that if I can, because I think it'd be lovely to get a picture of my original home village and see what it's like from above. And at this point we get to Nottingham Road by the village of Trowell and its journey's end for today's walk. So that's what lays ahead of us. That's going to be in part 2. Part 2 will take us towards Bramcote and Wollerton, and then part 3 I'm hoping to trace the former course, the Nottingham Canal, all the way to the Nottingham and Beeston Canal. So I do hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, comment below, give comments below. If you didn't like the video, also comment below and let me know why and what we can do to make things better. You can join all the social media links, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram with the links below. But from me and a footpath leading away from Trowell village. Yeah, that's going to be another story coming soon. But from me for now, bye for now.